Okay, good morning. So we will start with chapter number 6 first. Okay, from where we have stopped. So I think we have covered chapter 5 and we are entering into chapter 6. Total we have 10 chapters. So today we already finished with the the complete pneumatic circuit. So we will see a blended circuit. We call it as a electro-pneumatic. So lab dah buat dah electro-pneumatic. So electro-pneumatic, so if you are familiar with, is something, is a combination of electrical part and also pneumatic part. So at times we need to use electrical input to control our pneumatic circuit. Okay, so that's why we have electro-pneumatic. So generally the electrical input is given using a PLC. Okay, so PLC will be used. Okay, some definition. So electro-pneumatic term is defined by the word of electro, which means electrical, and pneumatic, which means pressurizer. Okay, so the electro-pneumatics equipment and system is an integration of electrical and mechanical component with compressed air source. Okay, so the pneumatic part is actually a mechanical component, but we are using compressed air to control. Okay, so I think a pneumatic side you are familiar with because we already learned 5 chapters on pneumatic. So, but the electrical part we are not really covering in our subject because we already take PLC subject. Belajar kan PLC. So we are not really going into, but we just in electro-pneumatic part we just give you a question, then you need to solve it using your fluid stream or in your exam. So electro-pneumatic is a pneumatic control system where air pressure and direction of valve are controlled by electrical current. So kalau dalam exam tanya definition, so you can give this definition. It's actually a pneumatic control system where air pressure and direction of valve are controlled by an electrical current. Okay, selalunya kita tengok dalam pneumatic circuit, so we have pilot operated, maksudnya you bagi pressurized air to control a valve. Tapi gunakan electro-pneumatic, so instead of you using a pressurized air to give input to a valve, so kita gunakan electrical relays. Okay, so other definition of electro-pneumatic boleh tengok dekat sini lah. Okay, so pneumatic is a method to transfer energy from one point to another point using actuator which are driven by fluid under pressure. Okay, so pneumatic kita tahu dia gunakan compressed air. So pneumatic restrict itself to gaseous fluid, while hydraulic uses liquid to transfer the energy. Okay, so after this, the second half of our subject, kita akan belajar pasal hydraulic. Okay, so 5 chapter on pneumatic, 1 chapter electro-pneumatic, 4 chapter berkenaan dengan hydraulics. So hydraulic dia gunakan liquid, pneumatic gunakan compressor. Okay, so that's something that you need to know. Pressure of the pneumatic system can be controlled by manually opening a valve, automatically by detecting its pressure, or sending an electrical signal. Okay, so there are 3 ways for you to control a pneumatic valve. Satu, kita control manual. So manual maksudnya you tekan push button, so your valve will extend or will switch position. Ataupun by detecting its pressure, automatic. So you tekan, so after sampai certain pressure, dia automatically akan send signal to operate the valve. So it's second thing. Third one, gunakan electrical signal. So itu yang kita akan belajar dalam electro-pneumatic. Okay, the control of pneumatic component by electrical impulse or electrical signal is known as electro-pneumatic. So these are other definition for electro-pneumatics. Okay, so boleh tengok signal flow component. Okay, so this in the pneumatic, so this is the signal, push button. Kemudian ada signal processing, so it can be N valve or O valve, itu adalah signal processing. Then signal output, so signal output we are controlling using directional control valve. Kemudian the command execution, the end product of the pneumatic system adalah it can be a motor, pneumatic motor ataupun pneumatic cylinder. Selalunya dalam exam ataupun dalam lab kita bagi pneumatic cylinders linear. Motor tu adalah tapi tak banyak. Sebab motor ni kita tak nampak. So it's hard to imagine, so we always opt for linear cylinder. Okay, so what's the difference between electro-pneumatic system? So kita ada signal input. Tengok signal input pun dia berlainan gambar dia. So dia ada macam push button juga, but this is a electrical push button, bukan pneumatic push button. Okay, then signal processing. So you have a processing element macam relay, contactors, PLCs. So signal processing. Signal output kita gunakan electrically operated directional control valve. So boleh tengok dekat belakang ni. So tengah-tengah ni adalah directional control valve, but here you have solenoid. Solenoid ni dia sambung dekat your ladder diagram. So ladder diagram untuk PLC. So you tekan dekat ladder diagram, so dia akan hantar signal dekat your pneumatic part. So maksudnya electro-pneumatic dia ada dua bahagian. Satu bahagian adalah electrical, satu lagi bahagian adalah pneumatic. Okay, so you need to know that. And the execution dia macam biasalah, dia gunakan cylinder or pneumatic motors. Okay, pneumatic power section. Okay, power section. So solenoid actuated direction control valve form the interface between signal control section and the pneumatic power section in the electro-pneumatic system. So dia macam wireless. So it's not really connected using wire. Tapi you tekan yang ni, dia akan hantar signal dekat your solenoid. Solenoid yang akan jadi contact point between your pneumatic and also your electrical part. Okay, so yang ni semua pasal input lah. So kita gunakan solenoid valve. Okay, so maybe kita akan tanya what is the advantage of electro-pneumatic system. So kita dah ada pneumatic system, kenapa kita kena gunakan electrical part to control the pneumatic? So these are some of the advantages. Okay, so lesser wear off part, lesser installation job, sebab kita gunakan electrical valve and electrical switches. So wear off part maksudnya dia komponen tak akan aus lah, because pneumatic is a mechanical way. So kalau ada mechanical, dia akan ada pergerakan banyak. So kita nak kurangkan pergerakan, so kita gunakan electrical part to control. So kalau gunakan electrical part, so we can minimize the movement of the pneumatic system. So installation job pun akan kurang. Okay, so that's the first advantage. The second advantage is to replace tube in pneumatic system to electrical wire in electro-pneumatic. Sebab tube ni kadang-kadang dia bocor, dia tak sambung tu, but it's safe lah, but at times it can be troublesome. So kita gantikan dengan electrical wire. Okay, electrical wire is end to end. Okay, so memang is a custom made. So kita tak perlu potong ke ataupun kita tak perlu cantum. So it's already created in such a way that for this particular length kita boleh gunakan this length of wire. Okay, less parts are used, reduce working space. Yang ni satu advantage. Apabila kurang gunakan komponen, so your circuit pun tak complicated. and because of that kita boleh reduce the working space. So especially when you have very tight space, you tak ada tempat yang besar dalam production line, then you can opt for electro-pneumatic. So electro-pneumatic, so you ada satu control room, you create a control room, you tekan dekat sana, so it automatically actuate or deactivate your pneumatic circuit. Sensor and controllers such as PLC can be included in the system. Expandability of the system. So PLC pun is quite powerful. Dekat industri memang boleh nampak PLC. Okay, nanti I think next year kan datang industri. So hopefully you can go to a industry where you can see all these components lah, all these circuit semua ni. So this is your PLC board switch panel. So dalam ni ada 4 switch, so you boleh just control. So instead of you gunakan satu push button, you boleh gunakan panel, and it can connect also to the PLC. So dia ada expandability punya element. Okay, so basic electrical device. Okay, so ini adalah basic electrical device: manually actuated push button switch, mechanical position sensor, pressure switches, solenoid, relay, timers, temperature switch. Yang ni semua untuk start the circuit. Then we have a proximity sensors, reed switch, electric counters. So macam dalam pneumatic, so kita ada roller. So roller untuk detect the end position, tapi dalam ni kita gunakan sensors. Sensors yang macam biasa kita tengok lah, proximity sensors. So dia cylinder extend sampai dekat that point, dia wirelessly akan detect. Roller switch dia kena ada contact point baru dia detect. So proximity sensors macam sensors yang ada dalam phone semua lah. So something yang electrically control. Okay, kita tengok sikit. So push button. Okay, push button in your electrical part. Yang ni basically pasal ladder diagram lah. So you all belajar pasal ladder diagram kan? Okay. Boleh faham kan macam mana dia nak buat. So yang bahagian ni adalah berkenaan dengan ladder diagram. Okay, so it can be a momentary push button. So return to unactuated position when released. Yang ni macam you tekan, you release, dia akan balik ke tempat asal. Dan pneumatic pun ada kan. So this is your momentary contact type. So selalunya your control panel ada 4 switch. So you boleh control 4 bahagian. Okay, so you have normally open and also normally close. Okay, so you choose which one you want. So you nak dia always on, waktu you tekan baru dia disconnect, ataupun you tekan baru dia nak connect. So you can connect to the respective place. Okay, then we have a maintain contact or detent push button. So detent maksudnya dia ada level. So tekan sekali dia locks at one point, tekan satu kali lagi dia lock at another point, tekan 3 kali baru dia release. So that is what we call as a detent. So boleh tengok dekat sini. So dia ada macam bengkok. So selalunya itu adalah lock. So it means a detent switch. Okay, so the contact of the push button distinguish according to the function. So kita boleh tengok normally open or normally close or change over. Okay, boleh baca sikit apa itu normally open and normally close. So normally open, so no, NO bukannya no. NO adalah normally open. So the contacts are open in the normal position, inhibiting the energy flow through them. And NC type, the contact are closed in the normal position, permitting the energy flow through them. So NC normally close maksudnya ada connection, normally open no connection. Okay, so changeover contact is a combination of NO and NC contacts. So dia ada dua-dua lah. Okay, so you can see the symbol and the physical construction. Dia sama macam pneumatic juga. So ada push button, kemudian ada spring kat dalam. Cuma simbol dia berubah. Okay, so when you are creating a electro-pneumatic circuit, so dalam lab pun, so jangan ambil komponen pneumatic letak dalam ladder diagram. So itu adalah konsep yang salah. So your circuit will not move. So untuk electrical ladder diagram, so ambil electrical component. Untuk pneumatic part, ambil pneumatic component. So kita tak boleh campur aduk. Okay. Similarly, so this electrical switch jangan letak dekat pneumatic. So nanti dalam exam macam-macam jawapan keluar. Semua campur. Saya pun tengok, ni saya tak ajar pun. Ni belajar kat mana ni? Okay, so this is your normally open. So normally open, so asal dia memang ada connection. So normally close, asal dia disconnected. Okay, so this is your pneumatic. So pneumatic normally open dengan electrical normally open tak sama, dia opposite. Okay, dia opposite. So jangan get confused. Okay, so boleh tengok dekat sini, in pneumatic circuit normally open maksudnya normally on. Tapi in electrical circuit normally open maksudnya disconnected. So yang ni you kena tahu. So similarly normally close in pneumatic maksudnya no connection, and in electrical normally close maksudnya ada contact. Okay, normally contact. Okay, mechanical position sensor or limit switch. So yang ni sama macam roller switch. Okay, so roller switch, maybe simbol ni biasa tengok kot. Sebab yang ni simbol automation studio. Tapi in fluid sim, dia selalunya ada distance rule. So boleh gunakan distance rule untuk detect yang ni. So you can see in pneumatic, simbol dia macam ni. But in electro-pneumatic, kita gunakan simbol macam ni. Okay, so simbol dia berlainan. Okay, so mechanical position sensors. So boleh tengok macam mana dia ada contact. So kalau ada contact, so dia akan tekan yang ni. So benda ni akan turun, then dia akan langgar. Dia akan ada contact. So port 1 akan connected to port 4. Okay, so that is how a limit switch work. Sebab yang ni mechanical selalunya ada contact point. Okay, so pressure switches or sensor. A pressure switch is a pneumatic electric signal converter. It is used to sense a change in pressure and opens or close an electrical switch when a predetermined pressure is reached. Yang ni macam pressure sensor lah. Dia sampai certain pressure, so it will send a signal. Dia dah sampai, let's say 6 bar. So dia akan tunggu sampai dia sampai 6 bar. Dah sampai 6 bar, baru dia akan hantar signal to on or off your circuit. Okay, so whatever things that we are learning now adalah komponen-komponen dalam electro-pneumatic. Okay, so ada juga construction yang gunakan bellow or diaphragm. Okay, macam ni ada diaphragm. So ada if there's a pressure here, then it will have a connection. Dia akan ada contact point dekat sini lah. Okay, so proximity sensor. So proximity sensor contains a transistor which conduct and switches or trigger on when something comes near to the sensor. Yang ni dia macam wireless. So kalau ada something dalam production line, biasanya boleh tengok yang ni. So production line selalunya lampu akan kelip-kelip. So kelip-kelip ni benda ni lah, proximity switch. Meaning something is coming near, dia dah sampai dekat dengan kawasan detection dia, lampu akan menyala. Dia dah keluar dari detection, lampu akan tutup. Sebab tu selalunya dalam production line kita boleh tengok lampu kelip-kelip. Okay. So proximity sensors contain a transistor. Dalam tu ada transistor. Dia transistor ni upon detection dia akan on or off your circuit. There are three types of proximity sensors, namely inductive, optical and capacitive. So ada tiga jenis. So apa perbezaan induktif dan capacitive? Electrical technology. Semester ni ke? Semester lepas? Dah lupa dah? Ya? Tak apa. Induction? So induction simbol dia apa? Alphabet. Ingat lagi? Saya belajar 20 tahun lepas pun masih ingat. Okay, so induktif selalunya kita gunakan alphabet L. Okay, L. Okay. And optical is something to do with light. Capacitive adalah berkaitan dengan capacitive lah, selalunya alphabet C. Okay, so dia ada tiga jenis. They normally have three electrical contact. One contact is for supply, other for ground, and third for output signal. Yang ni macam sensor electrical biasa. Okay, so if you buy for your final year project nanti, so ramai yang akan gunakan sensor. Selalunya kita boleh tengok setiap sensor tu ada 3 pin. Pin pertama adalah VCC, selalunya 5 volt. Second adalah your ground. Third adalah your signal. Yang ni pun samalah. So ada supply voltage. So whatever supply, it can be 12 volt ataupun 5 volt. So depends on the construction dalam tu. Then kalau ada input voltage, dia kena ada ground. Kalau tak, dia takkan complete lah circuit dia. Okay, so kena ada ground and output signal. Okay, so this is the inductive proximity sensor. Okay, setiap proximity sensor ni dia ada function dia. Dia ada benda-benda yang dia boleh detect. So not all proximity sensor boleh detect everything. Dia ada setengah benda tu dia boleh detect, setengah benda tu dia tak boleh detect. Okay, so inductive type proximity sensor. Physically it will be like this. Okay, so you buat connection dekat sini, then at this end dia macam tuju dekat arah komponen sampailah ataupun your production line. Okay, dekat sini. So this is the symbol. You can see dia ada symbol macam ada button dekat sini. So inductive type proximity sensor digunakan untuk detect metal. So if in your production line, your komponen yang ada dekat conveyor tu adalah metal ataupun good conductors. Conductors maksudnya something yang boleh benarkan elektrik untuk lalu. Okay, so that is what we call as a conductor. Kalau dalam barang yang ada dekat conveyor tu ada metal ataupun good conductor, then you can use inductive type proximity sensor, because this is good to detect metal objects. Selalunya benda-benda yang biasa tengok tak, macam apa, macam dalam National Geographic ke ataupun Discovery Channel, selalunya dia orang pergi cari harta karun ke apa kan, so gunakan some device, yang tu dalam tu digunakan inductive type of sensors, sebab dia akan cari mana ada metal. So kalau ada metal, so dia akan detect, dia akan korek dekat tempat tu lah. So lagi powerful the proximity sensor, so lagi better chance untuk you dapat harta karun. So nanti you jadi engineer, so create your own device untuk cari harta karun. So you boleh gunakan proximity sensor, the inductive type. Okay, so some simulation boleh tengok dekat sini. So you have a inductive type sensor macam ni. Then this is a oscillation amplitude and your so boleh tengok kalau so yang paling dekat dengan ni adalah bahagian ni. So kalau ada objek dekat bahagian ni, so dia akan on, sensor akan on. Okay, and the detection will be 0 sebab sensor dah on. Lagi jauh daripada proximity sensor, amplitude dia akan besar. Maksudnya dia tak dapat detect lah lagi jauh. Cuma dekat kawasan ni dia akan detect. Waktu dia detect tu, sensor output dia on. Dekat tempat lain dia off. So it can be used to detect some object lah. In this case, inductive type adalah metal. So tengok, so first signal masuk dekat sini. Let's say imagine yang ni adalah conveyor belt. So barang main dari sini, so it's not detected. So ada target. Saya tengok yang ni adalah target. So mula-mula target dekat sini. So dia tak detect. Dia sampai dekat sikit, dia belum detect lagi. Dia main lagi dekat, tak detect lagi. So yang ni dia dah masuk ke kawasan dia. You suppose dah boleh detect lah sikit, tapi it's not fully. When it enters here, betul-betul is covered by the detection range. Baru sensor akan on. So boleh tengok ada lampu dekat sini. Nampak tak? Warna hijau. Kan? Then dia dah keluar dari the zone. Dia dah mula disconnect. So yang ni jadi kosong. So lagi jauh, dia lagi tak boleh detect. So this is out of zone. Yang ni totally keluar lah daripada kawasan dia. So that is how it can detect. So basically untuk capacitive dengan optical sama. Apa yang perbezaan antara inductive, capacitive and optical adalah barang yang dia akan detect. Okay, inductive dia detect metal. So kita akan tengok yang lain apa yang dia akan detect. Okay, so advantage of inductive sensor, proximity sensor, advantage dia adalah self-contained, rugged and extremely reliable. So maksudnya kenapa dia reliable? Sebab dia bukan mechanical base. Dia tak ada contact tu, dia cuma ada electrical contact. Dia tak ada apa-apa mechanical pergerakan ke apa untuk dia wear and tear. So is easily reliable lah. So they have long service life. Sebab you beli sekali, unless dia rosak, so it still be usable because no mechanical wear and tear. They have shorter switching time. So maksudnya dia detect, dia terus akan switch, dia terus akan on ataupun off. You tak perlu tunggu sampai signal masuk dulu dari pressurized air, so baru dia akan on. Tak, it can be immediate. And they are compact and maintenance free. Compact, so maksudnya you tengok benda-benda yang ada dekat production line. So proximity switch dia kecil je, it's not too big. So disadvantage of proximity sensors are like reed switches, they cannot be used in environment subjected to magnetic field like resistant welding machine. So since dia detect based on the material type, so kalau dia di kawasan production line tu ada magnetic field ataupun daripada mesin-mesin lain ke ada magnetic field, dia akan kacau detection. So dia akan create false alarm. False alarm maksudnya benda ada di detect tak ada. So benda yang tak ada di detect ada. So that is what we call as a false alarm. So dia akan bagi alarm yang palsu lah. So you pun dah triggered. Tengok oh tak ada apa-apa. Okay, so that is the disadvantage. Okay, so application of proximity sensors. So proximity sensors can be used in various application. Boleh detect end position. Okay, so you can use proximity switch untuk detect end position of linear cylinder. Macam cylinder yang bergerak, dia extend ataupun retract. So kita boleh gunakan proximity switch ataupun proximity sensor to detect the end position. They are used to detect metallic piece on conveyor, so that is presence and absence of workpiece on conveyor. So boleh atas conveyor dia boleh detect barang yang sampai. So it's useful for your production line. So they are used in press to detect the end position. So boleh detect end position lah yang ni. Okay, they are used in monitor drill breakage while drilling. So dia akan detect lah. So drill dia successful ke tak. So if not successful, dia akan bagi alarm. So they are also used as feedback device in speed monitoring device. So speed monitoring device macam AES. So macam mana dia boleh detect your speed of the car. So dia gunakan a very powerful proximity sensor. So kalau you tak nak AES detect kereta you drive dalam magnetic field. So drive dalam magnetic field, so AES tak boleh detect. Dia akan alang, dia akan, so even though you travel under 50 km per hour, dia akan tunjuk 70 km per hour. So bolehlah gunakan magnetic field. Tapi dalam magnetic field you jadi jadi crazy kot. So not worth it kan. Okay, so that's on the inductive side. So inductive proximity sensor, dia detect metal. Capacitive proximity sensor, so ini adalah simbol dia. Cuma perbezaan dia ada capacitor dekat sini. Ada capacitor. So nampak pun lebih kurang sama. But capacitive proximity sensor are used to detect high density object. High density object maksudnya benda yang padat lah. So benda yang padat. So let's say the material yang you nak detect tu dia ada high density, dan dia boleh detect. Selalunya high density maksudnya macam it can be used in detecting different type of plastic bottle. Kan ada plastic bottle pun ada banyak jenis kan. So it can differentiate between high density plastic and also low density. So itu contohlah. Okay, so for this it will detect based on the density of the object. So lagi higher the density, so lagi cakap dia akan detect. Okay, so similarly, so ada target. Okay, so you have positive, negative dengan ground. So boleh tengok ada target is approaching. So dia masuk ke kawasan detection, so lampu akan menyala. Okay, so lampu akan menyala. Okay, kalau dia jauh daripada target, so dia akan disconnect. Okay, proximity sensor dia memang macam tu lah. So dia ada detection zone dia. So benda masuk ke detection zone, dia akan detect. Okay, so advantage of proximity sensors, they are widely used because of their ability to react with wide range of material. Okay, so depends on your application. So nanti you dah jadi engineer, so you masuk ke production line, then you boleh suggest lah. So depends on the material yang akan detect, akan ada dalam production line. So you can suggest whether you want to use inductive type, capacitive type or optical type. So they are suitable for detecting non-metallic object. Macam capacitive sensor, dia tak perlu metallic. Macam inductive, dia detect metal. Yang ni boleh detect non-metallic object. So benda-benda yang bukan metal. So memang production line kebanyakannya benda-benda yang bukan metal. So boleh gunakan capacitive sensor. So they can be used to sense and monitor level in storage containers. Okay, but the disadvantage, they are sensitive, especially to humid environment. So humid maksudnya kalau production line you lembab, so kelembapan dia tinggi, dia akan kacau lah. Dia akan kacau sensor ni. Okay, so without the compensator ring, the sensor will be sensitive to dirt, oil and other contaminants that might stick on the sensor. So yang apa yang kacau, so you kena ada protection layer. Kalau tak, environment dia tiba-tiba dia kotor, dia pergi stuck dekat sana, so sensor selalunya on. Sebab dia bukannya detect production punya produk, dia detect dirt. So dirt masuk dekat sana, dia form a layer, dia selalunya akan on. So last apa yang you kena buat, selalunya tak buat maintenance lah, dia terus cabut, dia buang, dia replace. So it will incur cost. Okay, so you need to pay more. Okay, so optical type, so optical advantage dia adalah untuk detect any reflective object, apa-apa yang boleh pantulkan cahaya. Because optical macam fiber optic lah, fiber optic dia gunakan cahaya kan, so it's using a light. So optical sensor pun gunakan light. So dari sensor ni dia akan shoot the light, so kalau dia boleh reflect, so dia akan detect lah. Okay, so it's used to detect any reflective object. Simbol dia pun yang ni adalah simbol optical ni, macam tulisan Jepun kan. So that is memang optical punya simbol. So dia letak dalam ni. Macam tadi capacitive, so you can see dia dekat tengah ni ada capacitor. So inductive, ada inductor punya simbol lah. So ada inductor punya simbol. So that's the only difference. Okay. So for about the proximity sensor, know the different type of function. Untuk material apa dia akan detect. Okay, boleh tengok some simulation. So ada transmitter dengan receiver. So kalau dia send cahaya, dia selalunya akan ada transmitter and receiver. So dia send cahaya dari sini, so dekat the other end you have a receiver. The receiver akan terima cahaya tu. Kalau in between ada apa-apa, maksudnya dia akan alang lah. Macam dekat sini, so you have a target, so this is your detection drone, so this is your transmitter. So lampu pancar dekat sini, terima dekat receiver. So dia masuk dekat sini, so boleh tengok dia mula alang. Okay, alang, so lampu pun on. So dekat sini pun dia alang, so lampu on. Okay, so that's three different types of proximity sensors. Okay, so and we have reed switch. Okay, reed switch ni dia macam roller valve ataupun roller switch dalam mechanical lah. But reed switch adalah electrical. So reed switch is one of the sensor which is operated by magnetic field. Yang ni digunakan magnetic field, usually fit directly into cylinder with clips. So dia akan attach terus dekat the body of the cylinder. Sebab dalam cylinder, dalam bahagian ni kan, so cylinder selalunya ada satu bahagian yang penuh dengan the body of the cylinder, and you have a rod. Okay, you have a rod. So dekat bahagian dalam ni ada magnet. Boleh tengok dekat sini dia ada magnet. So magnet ni boleh digunakan untuk detection of movement. Sebab you want to detect the end position, whether cylinder fully extend or retracted. So you kena either letak dekat luar ataupun boleh letak dekat dalam. So reed switch ni boleh attach dekat body of the cylinder, cylinder barrel. Okay, so letak satu dekat ujung sini, satu lagi dekat ujung sini. When the magnet reach dekat sini, kita tahu cylinder already retracted. Kalau magnet ada dekat sebelah sini, kita tahu cylinder is fully extended. So dia boleh detect lah. So the piston of the cylinder, so ini adalah bahagian piston. So piston ada magnet dalam tu, and when the position come close to the reed switch, the contact is closed ataupun on. So boleh tengok dekat sini. Okay, so you ada reed switch. Ini adalah silinder piston. Dia bergerak dekat switch. Dia jauh dari switch, dia tak menyala. So magnet ada dekat sini. So when it is at the detection zone of the reed switch, tengok lampu menyala. Okay, so that is some introduction about electro-pneumatic. Yang lain tu saya akan bagi dalam add puzzle. Okay, so tolong dengar. Okay, then we will discuss next week. So ada soalan tak setakat apa yang kita belajar hari ni? Any question? Sebab dalam final exam boleh ada question from electro-pneumatic walaupun dia cuma satu chapter. Okay, but electro-pneumatic is quite important sebab dia banyak digunakan dekat industri. Okay, so any question so far? Okay, so kita akan take a break. So lepas balik tu saya akan bagi balik exam question. So tak apalah, nanti saya ulas. Okay. Okay, so you can take 10. So we will start back at 9:05.